You're tuned in to Music Scene Investigation. My name's Rich Wildman. On MSI, we do all kinds of crazy things like have music experts review music and hear it one time without knowing the name of the artist, the name of the song, the genre of the song, or anything about it for that matter. They hear it live on the broadcast as you do as well. It's very cool stuff when you really get down to it. It's free for musicians all around the world. All you have to do is go to musicsceneinvestigation.com, click on Submit a Song at the top of the page, and just follow the very simple rules there, like keeping it under 5 minutes, like two of our artists today did not do. But we're going to play their music anyway because another one did. And very, 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 very much did they follow the rules. They kept their song down to less than 2 minutes, so we can make up that time. Very cool stuff. I want to take the opportunity to introduce our panelist on the broadcast today. By the way, first of all, if you tuned into last week's broadcast, you know that I forgot to press record for about the first, 20 minutes. Yeah, well, we pressed record today. We are recording. I'm monitoring it. I'm looking at it right now just to make sure it's recording. It is. We're good, I think. We'll find out after the fact. Anyway, here we go. Our panelist today on the broadcast from the English Riviera down in Brighton, it's Mr. James Anderson. James, how are you, sir?
I'm all right, thanks, Rich. How are you? Okay.
I'm doing fine. I'm doing real well.
That's good to hear. I think you forgot to mention that the bands should also submit a bribe when they're submitting their work, because that way it keeps us running and
only to
gives
you.
them a good chance of getting over to the hit list as well.
They send a bribe to you. I don't know anything about it. That explains the cool digs you're in and why you can afford that yacht.
It's all about the money laundering, isn't it?
Apparently, I wouldn't know anything about that, honestly. I have no clue. No clue. But, you being the kingpin that you are.
Well, we'll move away from that swiftly, just in case the HMRC are listening. So
they're always listening.
Well, everything I've got is tapped, so I've got to be careful. But last week's been pretty good. I've heard
that not everything you have is tapped. Not yet, anyway.
There's one or two electronic devices, but we won't mention which ones they are.
As long as you called it, I'm not saying a word.
Sure thing.
All right, so what's been going on with you, James, over the last couple of weeks? We haven't seen you around. How you been? Everything's going all right, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping a low profile. I've been out and about. I've been doing electrical work, as the audio industry for me is relatively slow. So I've been retraining, working at a fermentation plant, which doesn't sound anywhere near as exciting as it should be. Now,
let me ask you a question. Based on your experience, is the audio industry slowdown due to is it something that always happens? Does it happen in phases, or is this something that you can attribute to the economy, perhaps, or maybe it's because a lot of indie artists, a lot of bands are taking it upon their own selves to record and master their own stuff? What do you attribute it to?
I attribute it to them coming on this show, winning the hit list, and then getting the mastering suite, the Landar thing that we give away, and then they will become too good for us, and we can't compete. But on a serious note, I think there's always a bit of a lull, and last year for me personally, it was very bad, and I know, speaking on behalf of quite a few other engineers that I know, it's been bad for them as well. But it's not across the board. I mean, there's so many different facets of the audio industry that you can go into, and my particular area was suffering quite badly. So I think it's just down to what you do.
You always got to have a plan B anyway, so
my plan B is electrics, so that seems to be panning out.
It's always a good thing. And Pinky in the chat room says he thinks the whole slowdown in the music industry is from global warming. He's blaming Al Gore, and I actually blame Al Gore for everything, so Pinky is right on the button. From over in London, England, just that way from Heathrow, I think, Mr. Ian Husbands, he has a special guest with him, our guest panelist, Mr. Josh Conway. Hey, guys, how the heck are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Yeah, very good.
Sounds like we're good then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're good. So, all right. London, England. A lot of cool, interesting things happened there this past week.
Yeah. We had a plane crash, didn't we?
Yeah, that's not our jam night.
Right up the road from our jam night.
Yeah.
Apparently carrying the bin Ladens.
Really?
Yeah, apparently they were coming to the jam, and the pilot got all flummoxed and made a few mistakes.
The Bin Ladens were coming to the jam.
Yeah.
Oh well, very cool. Apparently, you guys have a reputation then.
We appeal to quite a broad market, don't we?
We do, yeah. I mean, apparently the reverbs in the venue sound a lot like a cave.
Tora. I don't know anything about that. Nothing about it. All right, so let's see that's Apes, Pigs, and Spacemen shirt you have on there. Any special reason for that, or was it the only one clean?
It was the first one I got out the drawer this morning, quite simply. But obviously, always proud to promote Mr. Miro. I'm actually really busy at the moment. Paul's, and I'm not allowed to say too much because I'm sworn to secrecy, and he'll absolutely kill me if I say anything too much.
There are no secrets here on MSI.
But he's preparing a new pledge campaign, and I've been doing a bit of work on that. We're sort of trying to get as much done before we actually launch the campaign as possible. So I've been doing a lot of work for him on that at the moment, and it's going to be good. It's going to be fantastic, in fact.
All right. And, of course, your guest with you in studio today is none other than Mr. Josh Conway himself. Now, Josh is a singer-songwriter, producer, engineer. One of the things in your profile, Josh, if I may be so bold, I have a question on. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All right. Now, I'm reading through the profile. One of the things that caught my eye, this may or may not be true, but it caught my eye anyway. Let me see if I can find it again.
I wrote this.
That's true. He did write it. It's one of the paragraphs in here. I'm just going to go through it here. It says, a very talented guitarist, drummer, and vocalist, he is often described by his musical contemporaries as a child genius. Now, I want to know which musical contemporary calls you a child genius, and how did you earn that reputation?
I think it comes down to a guy called Oggy who sings in one of our many sort of bands and jam nights and all sorts. With the main one's a band called Tetanus Jab, and I don't know why he calls me a child genius. I think it's because I've been playing. He's seen me playing since I was I think I was 12 when he first saw me drumming, and then I joined Tetanus Jab when I was about 19, and I've played every single role in that band several times. And on the nights we have it's kind of like a liquid format, not like no one's sat where they're meant to be all night. One of us will end up drumming halfway through a song, and then someone else will end up playing the bass while someone else goes to the toilet. None of the music stops; it all keeps going. And I tend to just run around the stage playing everything when we do it.
Now I know that you were on the broadcast with us back in May, and
yes.
During that time we talked a little bit about drumkey.co.uk, your new website. Yes. How are things going there? I went out and looked at it the other day. Looks like things are starting to pick up there.
Yeah, it's still the site is still in maintenance and still, I'm still building it. But we have just rented we've got like a 50-foot long pig farm basically, and we're currently soundproofing it, and hopefully we'll have this really nice studio where we can do all the videos and get all the content up and looking good.
Sorry, I'm going to pause the button. Pig farm?
Pig farm. Well, it was a pig farm. Now it's a recording studio.
Have you got rid of the smell?
It was a pig farm 10 years ago.
Okay,
yeah,
just wondering.
15 years ago.
Could be a negative,
Yeah. Yeah, might be quite hard to work in those conditions.
You need windows.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Skyline Studios, right?
And that's going to be called, the whole studio itself is going to be called Skyline Studios. And another thing we're going to aim to do is do like a demo package for like younger bands and do the videos, photos, audio, all that kind of stuff. So I think when you're younger, you don't have a lot of money, but you want to be able to get all your songs out to get gigs, and it's kind of that catch-22 where you have to be good enough to have the gigs to get the money to do the demos, but
Yeah.
you can never get your foot in the door, and you
Or a
keep
slightly
running around.
rich benefactor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to offer them a cheap way of just, walking in the studio, spend a couple of hours, and then walk away with some songs, I think could work quite well.
And we're looking at the grand opening of that soon, aren't we?
Yeah, September I'm hoping to have that all open. So
Awesome party.
yeah, a little bit of maybe a jam night, maybe something on those
Awesome.
lines.
Awesome. We can periscope it.
We could periscope it, yeah.
We've been talking a lot about periscoping here for those people who weren't with us last week. It came up on the radar, and it's kind of the catchword today, periscoping things. So if you're out there, please periscope yourself watching the show. We could use the publicity. All right, now, Josh, I was going to go talk to James for a second, but I figured I better talk to Josh. The last time we talked a little bit about Days Remain as well. So, in fact, that is one of the websites I keyed upon when looking at your profile last time around. So, how are things going? What's the status on that?
Yeah, well, we have an entire album written and ready to go out, but we haven't. There's things we want to re-record, so it's kind of wait for Skyline Studios to be up and running, and then we can redo certain things that we're not happy with. But the majority of the album's ready, so it'd be good to get that out. And we still need a name for the album, so I'm thinking at the minute. Fred.
I think you ought to name it after what the new studio was made from. Pig Farm.
Pig Farm. Possibly.
And what's the deal with the film? You were doing a film with
yeah, that should be out soon.
What's his name?
We do Martin Scorsese.
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, that'll be out soon. That's a film called Tomorrow. So I haven't kept up to date recently with when that's coming out, but yeah, I think that'll be September. I think the release for that as well. So that'll be exciting.
September is going to be a busy month for you then.
Yeah, it will. And we started doing a thing called Bandioki in Reading, which is near London, where we're basically doing karaoke with a live band. So we have to have sort of 2,000 songs ready to play.
Now, I got to ask you a question about that, because I used to run a karaoke service, which was very cool. We really enjoyed it. And a lot of people can sing karaoke, or so they purport, but there are some people who are fairly good at it. But when you get them in front of a live band, they just fall apart. So how do you guys work with these karaoke singers, which is what they're going to be, to work with them in a live band?
It can be equally hard to work with the good singers as well, I think, because some of them get in front of a band and all of a sudden they have this prima donna status that they don't get when they're with a backing track. So I think it's generally hard no matter who's singing. You just have to kind of put up with them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the guys and gals who are used to the timing of a backing track, and a live band, the timing is a bit different.
Oh yeah, we've done. I don't know if you're familiar with the stereophonics, but a few times we've actually done stereophonics Dakota in 5/4, I think, because the singer just couldn't quite get their head around standard time signature.
I mean, on that level, are you playing the songs to the record from the point of view of arrangement, length, tempos, or because obviously we come from a jam background and there's a lot more freedom in what we do, especially with the singers we work with. We can move around, we can drop out, we can do drum changeovers. You've just got to be a bit more stringent with the bandioki, right?
Yes, I think if you know the singer and the singer knows what they're doing, and they're kind of, you can tell when a singer's commanding the band and turning around and getting you involved and saying, right, bring it down, bring it up. Yeah. You work with that, but if the singer doesn't really know what's going on, you have to kind of lead them. And Rob, our drummer, who's also the jam night drummer, he kind of takes charge and.
He's musical director.
He's musical director, basically, and goes, keep playing, come on, stop. We're like, okay. But it does work. It's fun as well.
It's got to be a challenge, I think, and I think it would be kind of fun.
Yeah. And do you have lyrics, like a traditional karaoke?
We have all the lyrics up on the board, and if there's a song that we can't do, we do have a traditional karaoke set up, so we can accommodate the people who want to do ABBA, even though we don't have keyboards.
You don't play ABBA?
We do ABBA, but we do limited numbers by ABBA. I bet
you do Dancing Queen.
Yeah, Mamma Mia. There's a few on there, but there's obviously ABBA's one of those karaoke wish list.
I
bands, aren't they, really?
think if you're learning all this new material, you need to make Oggy learn all this new material as well, so you can come down the jam night and I can actually watch Oggy singing Dancing Queen. I think that would be absolutely fantastic.
There's been a real big demand for Oggy to do the Spice Girls recently.
Really?
Was it?
When you say Oggy to do the Spice Girls, I take it you mean cover their music and nothing else.
Well, he's tried the other one before, but I don't think he could get near them, to be honest. No, they'd like Oggy to sing.
All he's got to do is audition for the X Factor. He'll be fine.
He's done that, actually.
Has he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a story I need to know at some point in time. I've actually met Mel C.
Yes.
No, the sporty one, which...
Sporty Spice.
Yeah, Mel C, was Mel C, wasn't it? Yeah. I actually went to the studio. What's the big studio? The Beatles studio.
Abbey Road.
On a trip with work where I've done some work for David Bowie and I got taken around Abbey Road, and she was there and she was bustling her way through the reception as I got there and practically pushed me out of the way, which I thought was really nice of her. You know.
Yeah.
Incredible. Oh, there you go. Brushes with greatness from Mr. Ian Husbands.
Then she got in her big Mercedes and drove away.
You should never meet your heroes, Ian. You know?
No, exactly. I mean, in all fairness, she's had a few more hits than I have.
Yeah.
Just a few.
And Jai, I need to ask you the final question here before we get into some new music. The website for the new studio is going to be what? So we can direct people there.
Oh, that's good. I think it'll be along Skyline Studios .co.uk or Skyline Studios Limited.co.uk. It'll be something along there, but I'll get Ian to post it. I think in my profile.
But currently, also you've got drumkey.co.uk.
Yeah, you'll be able to get a link through drumkey.co.uk to the Skyline one. So
that's right.
Drumkey's up now, up and running. So.
Excellent. So everybody can go drumkey.co.uk. You can get a link to the new studio there. Once it's up and running and once the website has been prepared. I'm assuming that's correct, right, Josh?
Josh is currently offering £150 off lessons if you book.
Oh yeah, I'm basically doing beginner courses so that if you want to get your foot in the door with an instrument, I'm going to do 10 lessons for £10 each. So it'll be £100 as opposed to £25 an hour, which would be £250.
So that's a bloody good deal.
Yeah, it's a very good way of getting people.
Yeah,
trying to encourage people to play.
Pinky suggests that the website for the studio should be pigfarm.co.uk.
I would hate to see what that brings up. To be honest.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Forward, isn't it, really?
All right, well, let's go ahead. Let's get in some new music. We'll find out what our panelists think of it as they hear it on today's broadcast. Again, we have 3 new songs coming up on the broadcast today, so sit back and enjoy them while our panelist enjoys them as well. Here it is, everybody. This is going to be song number 1 on today's Music Scene Investigation. Enjoy, everyone. This is song number 1.
What's the number? What's the name? What's the minute hand? Digital face. We will leave you, we will walk out the door, breaking new ground on the snow on the floor. I'll fall, I'll wait, I will be with you till after the ice is gone. It is worth more to them dead, so die, don't make them tear you apart. I know you wait. What's the number? What's the name? What's the minute hand? Digital fate. We will leave you, walk out the door, waking you ground on the snow on the floor. I'll fall, I'll wait, I will be with you till after the ice is gone. It is worth more to I'm dead, so die, don't make them tear you apart. What's the number? What's the name? What's the minute and digital face? We will leave you, we will walk out the door, make you ground up, snow on the floor.
That is track number 1 on today's music scene investigation. As we throw it over to the panel, we're going to start with James first this time around. James, what do you think about track number 1?
Well, at least they kept within the 5-minute boundary.
Absolutely.
That's something that not all the artists managed to do. I think it was an interesting track. It reminded me a little bit of a couple of the sort of Brian Eno numbers off Taking Tiger Mountain, just simply because of the sort of weird vocal overlays there. But I certainly wouldn't compare it to those great works, because it's certainly not that well executed. It's definitely more of a demo idea. I think what it has structurally is something that could work well if the production was a lot better, but there's a lot of vocal discrepancies in the levels, very strange recording techniques going on here, or lack of, in the fact that there's no consistent level. There's a lot of booming going on with the guitar. And there's performance issues here and there. I don't know if that's intentional on the vocal or not, because there's a bit of a strange dialect or something going on that I can't quite figure out. It's quite difficult to work out what some of the words were. Overall, I think this is one that needs to be reworked. I wouldn't say that it's dreadful as such, but I don't think it's achieving its full potential, because there's so much that it needs to it just needs to be redone, in effect. It's a demo at the best.
All right. I appreciate your thoughts, James. Now let's go over to the dynamic duo, Ian and Josh, find out what their thoughts are. Ian, Josh, who wants to go first?
All right, I'll jump in. Okay. It's a songwriter's demo. To me, this is the sort of thing I would lay down if I've had a night writing and I don't want to forget what I've done. So I'll pick up the guitar and I'll strum something down, I'll sing along and I'll get the idea down. It needs a lot of development. Josh and I were discussing, there's something wrong with that acoustic guitar for certain. It sounds like it's in a very large live room. And there sounded like there's some phasing issues going on there as well, or some chorus being applied that was making it sound slightly off tune and slightly discoloured. The vocals were set back. Mixing a guitar and vocals shouldn't be that hard. I mean, you should be able to balance them off quite well. But that guitar was dominant, even though it was sort of phasing and that sort of strange chorus on it. From a performance point of view, okay, I can appreciate where he's coming from with the vocal style he wants to work with. That's cool. When he started doing those high backing harmonies, the sort of backing vocals, I would have preferred to hear the melody go up the octave, so it had a bit more oomph in it, and then kept the backing vocals a bit more set back and lower, because that high backing vocal sort of seemed to dominate over that low lead vocal. I mean, you've got the start of the song here, and that's what this sort of demo should be about. I can hear mandolins on this, so I can hear things like bodrums and a lot of hand percussion rather than the sort of a full drum kit. You could put a stand-up bass on this. You could take it a lot of directions. It's so open to do a lot with it at the moment. I personally would sort of take it down a folky route. So you've got the start of a good track, but you need to up your performances and certainly your production values. Get a band behind this who are knowing what they do, rather than trying to do all this yourself. Get a good mandolin player or something who can come put some picking bits over the top of this. And you've got to start something good, but it needs a lot of work. Over to you, Josh.
Yeah, I'd agree with pretty much everything Ian just said. But the one thing I would say is, if it is aimed as a kind of songwriter's demo that you've just sort of laid down after a long day of writing or night of writing, the area I would move on to now is perhaps thinking about the dynamics of the song, because from what I heard, it kind of just trailed along, and I could see you were trying to layer stuff with the vocals, but perhaps you could have worked on bringing things down dynamically, maybe brought the less strumming in on the guitar for certain parts, and then when you bring it in, it gives it a bit more rhythm, and there's certain things like that to kind of make it more structurally interesting, because from what it sounded like, it was just a looped guitar, effectively.
First chorus, yeah.
But other than that, I think I'd agree with Ian. I think it's got some very good ideas in there. I think you could turn that into a very good song. But it does need that, like Ian said, a good band behind it, one way or another. You could either kick in really hard with the band, or you could add the mandolins and go down the folk route, or anything. But no, it's definitely some ideas that are worth sticking to, I'd say.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, very good, gentlemen. Thank you very much. And let's find out who that song was by. Track number 1. It's called After the Ice, and it's by Duncan Bruce. We appreciate Duncan sending that track in to Music Scene Investigation. As James alluded to earlier, all about the music who appear on Music Scene Investigation, one of them will be selected Song of the Week this week, and it will go on to our hit list, where it will compete in August here for a prize from Landr.com, LANDR.com. They're providing a 1-year pro subscription. Your mastering made easy at their website, LANDR.com. You can try it out for free by clicking the link right below our live player on MusicSceneInvestigation.com/live. Give it a try. See if it might work out for your music as well. Let's go ahead and go back to our panel and listen to track number 2 on today's broadcast. Here it is, everyone. This is track number 2 on today's Music Scene Investigation. Certainly hope you enjoy it as well.
The streets at night. Is there something wrong with me? Do I look alright? Don't you like the color of my hair? Do you have to stare? I don't care. Paranoia. I don't sleep at night. Paranoia. But I do alright. Paranoia. I don't sleep at night. Paranoia. But I do alright. Yes, I do alright. Do alright. Do alright. Standing in the shadows, watching the world go by, watching the world go by. But I am never happy, and I cannot cry, cannot cry. And I live my life like the walking dead, like the walking dead. You will notice when I speak that I don't lift my head, lift my head, lift my head. It's that paranoia. I don't sleep at night. Paranoia. But I'm alright. Paranoia. I don't sleep at night. Paranoia. But yes, I do alright, do alright, do alright. Yes, I do alright, do alright, do alright. This is the disease of my kind, of my kind. There is beauty all around us, but to that we're blind, that we're blind. We stop to smell roses as we run to die, as we run to die. But then it's too late, too late, too late to even try. Oh, it makes me wanna cry. Paranoia, I don't sleep at night. Paranoia, alright. Paranoia, I don't sleep at night. Paranoia, but I do alright. Yes, I do alright, do alright, do alright. Oh yes, I do alright, do alright, do alright. Oh yes, I do alright, do alright, do alright. Yeah, yes, I do alright, do alright, do alright. It's paranoia. It's paranoia. It's paranoia.
I suppose I could just cut that wind out because that's all it is. It's wind at the end of the song there. All right, that's song number 2 on today's music scene investigation. Let's go back over to the guys, find out what their thoughts are. We're going to start up top with James and Josh. Let's start with James and Josh. What the heck? Ian and Josh. Guys, go ahead. Tell me what you think about track number 2 on the broadcast.
What do you take this one first?
Okay. The drums sounded. We'll start with the drums. They sounded like everything was coming through at the same dynamic. Like when you get with MIDI, you get 127. I think is the maximum, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds like everything's been keyed in with the same, not dynamic, but velocity. And like the toms are really jumping out, and the cymbals are really cutting through everything. But then the backbeats kind of getting lost because of that. And I think it could basically just mix those in a little bit better, and they probably won't be hit by the compressor as bad either. The bass and the guitar seemed to have a few, not real timing issues, but there was a little bit sloppy the way like the bass note would come in and then you get the chord just after or just before.
Half a beat, yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of, it makes the whole thing sound a little bit sloppier when for that kind of song it could do with being a little bit more precise. I did like the vocals. There were a few questionable notes in there, but I think the melody and, you know, some of the lyrics and stuff kind of reminds me of a theme tune sort of style piece of music. And I've definitely heard worse theme tunes in my life.
We mentioned that he actually says the lyrics "Walking Dead" in there, doesn't he?
It says the lyrics "Walking Dead," and it had the crime scene, music scene investigation intro tape, and it lined up perfectly. We were watching that thinking this has been done on purpose, this is brilliant. But yeah, I think also a little bit too long maybe. You know, there's a lot of ideas there, but I think pick more some of the crucial ones and get rid of some of the sound effects maybe, because it kind of sounds like they're going the whole way through the song, and I don't think you need to have that. I think the song's probably good enough without all those effects constantly going through, but it's good to have some in there. But yeah, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, lot agree with Josh. We were chatting about this as we were listening. My biggest issue with this was over compression, and you could hear it on the cymbals where it was just fizzy and there was no sort of brightness to them, and everything seemed to be occupying the same space. We were even debating about use of stereo field here, because it just seemed to be like there was no stereo. We listened to on speakers, we checked it on the headphones, there was some stereo going through, but I think what was stereo was mainly the drums, which if you're using MIDI kits and stuff like that will generally have that stereo stuff built in anyway. Everything else seemed to be like straight down the middle. Mix wise, it was all over the place, and I think a lot of that was due to the overcompression. You couldn't really define any of the instruments too clearly. There's some nice tones going on. I did like the bass tone, but as Josh said, the playing was a little bit sloppy. Like the guitar tone, that worked. All the special effects, the screams, the whispers, the sirens going off, it was just too much. From the point of view, if you're trying to present a track for TV, then kind of all that sort of stuff's going to come with the program, if that makes sense. And, you don't want to be adding on layers of your own as well. I want to hear the song presented as a song, not as necessarily a TV piece or a film piece. They can do that in production with the film. So, I don't mind it on the intro. The intro was a little bit over-bloated with that from my point of view. Actually, I did think it was just the noise coming from outside and we're straight in all the screams, the sirens and stuff like that. I just thought I was home again. It was a bit overdone. And it would shorten that song down as well. It wouldn't be so long, and that would help. Like the vocal performance, like the idea of the track, the lyrics and the arrangement. But yeah, mix-wise, it was all over the place. Far too much compression. And presentation, I think, needs to be tidied up from the point of view of presenting a song rather than a song about zombies or a nuclear meltdown or whatever it's about. The end of the world.
Yeah, we've had that show before. All right, let's go to James and find out what his thoughts are. James, track number 2.
Well, I think that the song was swamped by the sound effects. It was a shame, really, because I think it is a track that would stand up a lot better if it wasn't, say, sound effects heavy. And especially with the overkill of the screams after every time Paranoia was mentioned. It was quite comedic on the first listen because some of those effects, sorry to say it, do sound quite laughable, but I think that there was a nice idea of the music. I mean, it's a good composition. Just a shame that some of the performance was executed in a sloppy way, as it's already been mentioned, especially with the recurring drum fill that seemed to be slightly out of time. When I first heard the track, I thought, it's good to have a bit of sound effect in there, but as soon as the music came in, you expect the sound effects to disappear almost entirely. And I'm not saying get rid of them completely, because it's good to have sort of sparing use of them, but to have it throughout the whole thing, it just confused the whole listening experience for me and sort of ruined it in a way, especially when you've got the sound of, I'm not entirely sure whether it was intended to be vinyl crackle or rain, but that seemed to run through the whole thing, and you can't really, you're not the Doors, you can't do Riders on the Storm and have a tape loop throughout it.
Do you think that's what it was properly? Because I wasn't hearing that as rain or a sound effect, I was hearing that as digital compression. When you get that slight sort of sparkle on reverbs and stuff like that, and you can actually, with a pair of headphones, hear it. And that's what it sounded like. It sounded like a sound effect.
It was so loud for me that it sounded like it was intended as a sound effect. But you could be right. It could be down to the compression where it's lifted some noise and made it sound ridiculous.
Mm.
That's a very good point. I hadn't thought of that, actually. But there was some weird sort of filtering and phasing noises in there. But it just needs reworking. I think remove some of the sound effects. Obviously, sort out some of the timing issues, create a better stereo field, and you've got a nice track. Yes, it's a little bit long for the show, but that wouldn't really matter so much if it was more listenable. So I think what you got there is a good composition, just poorly executed.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you, James. Song number 2. It's called Paranoia, in case you missed it, and it's by Jay Lung, and we appreciate him sending that track into Music Scene Investigation as well. We have one more track to take a listen to on the broadcast today, so let's get right to it and take a listen to it. This is track number 3 on today's Music Scene Investigation. Certainly hope you enjoy it as well. Track number 3 on today's MSI.
of the sea. I hear you calling out my name. No destination to be seen. Take my hand and lead the way. Like a ship sailing to sea, I'm a vessel on the way. My life's beckoning to me to come and walk upon the waves. Before this voyage begins, fill my sails up with your winds. No compass as my guide, love's leading me to the other side. Before this voyage begins, fill my sails up with your winds. No compass as my guide, my eyes are fixed on a new horizon. Like a ship sailing to sea, I'm a vessel on the way. My love beckoning to me to come and walk upon the waves. Take me higher, take me deeper. I'll go where you go, whatever it takes. Make me stronger, make me faster. I'll travel this course even if my heart breaks. Take me farther, take me wider. I'll go where you go, whatever it takes. Make me wiser, a true fighter. I'll travel this course even if my heart breaks. A living sacrifice. To die is gain, to live is Christ. A living sacrifice. To die is gain, to live is Christ. Like a ship sailing to sea, I'm a vessel on the way. My love's beckoning to me to come and walk upon the waves.
That's track number 3 on today's MSI. Let's go to our panel, find out what they thought. We're going to start this round with James, I think. James, what do you think about track number 3?
I'm afraid it hasn't quite ended for me. It's just fading out there.
All right.
Okay.
Take a second.
Sorry, I'm ready. Don't worry.
We'll wait for you.
I was just about 5 seconds behind everyone else. Yeah, I can imagine that being used in a movie. It's got that sort of big film sound, very sort of heavily compressed and up in your face, very loud sort of orchestral drums, and generally sounds like the kind of thing that you would hear in a trailer or in a movie. I'm sad to report I heard a fair bit of digital distortion in there, and I'm not sure whether that's from the transfer of WAV to MP3 or some kind of format thing, or if it's just been mastered or recorded too loud and it's clipped. Interesting vocals. I think it's quite a good performance. There are one or two moments that were unforgivable in the age of the digital realm, where you can just go through Scour and pick out any of the plosives or slightly dodgy noises in there, because to my ears, that's where I'm from. I'm more of a vocal type person. I'll pick out these things, and there are a couple of plosives in there that could have been removed very easily, which is something that the artist, mixer, or producer could go back to and get rid of quite easily. But yeah, it's a nice vocal style. I noticed in the chat room, Pinky mentioned that there's a hint of auto-tune in there, which I think I'd agree with. Not so much towards the end, but early on there was something that sounded like some kind of vocal step, or either that or just got a good talent of adjusting note in a more sort of bizarre, artificial way. A little bit too long, unfortunately, as we determined by the fact that it was still playing just as I was about to speak. But overall, not a bad track.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, James. Thank you very much. Over to Josh and Ian and their thoughts. Josh, Ian, what do you think about track number 3?
Okay, right. My first thoughts on this. That intro was wholly unnecessary. That would to make this track a lot longer, fulfilling James' want. And it was full of MIDI strings, really sort of home production sounds, and then you launch into this beautiful vocal and piano piece, which builds up into a very, very good song, in my opinion. So get rid of that intro. It instantly put me off the track upon listening to it, and it was a nice surprise when that girl's voice came in, but it's not needed. I didn't hear any digital clipping at all here. Personally, I didn't listen on cans. I was listening on speakers. You had a quick listen on cans. Did you hear anything?
I didn't hear a thing. No, sounded good.
So yeah, didn't hear any of that. I think, if Enya, Florence from Florence and the Machine, and Amy Lee from Evanescence got together and had a lesbian affair, it would be really big news in the music press.
It would be.
They'd have a love child, which would be this girl, I think. Because lots of cool influences coming in. Definitely a Florence and the Machine influence in there somewhere.
Cranberries.
Bit of Cranberries as well, yeah, with the lilt in her voice and stuff like that. And that's a good pedigree to come from, let's face it. So you've got, some really good comparisons going on there. I like the atmosphere, I love the sounds, I love the girl's voice. There were a few performance issues in that voice that Josh and I sort of mentioned, but Josh quite rightfully said, and I don't want to steal your review here, dude, but Josh quite rightly said that, if you start taking out all of them out, then you'll kind of make that a very clinical performance. You want to keep those sort of natural parts in to show it's being done live. I haven't got a lot to sort of fault this with. Really. I like the way it built. I like the way it dropped back down towards the end and came back in again. I love the production of the sounds. This is, again, a movie sort of style track. But I think also this would be a very good sort of, if not a single, a good strong album track.
And Josh, what about you? What do you think about track number 3?
Yeah, I totally agree with Ian about the intro. It kind of sounded like, I don't know if you've ever opened Sibelius, but it sounded like that string intro that you get, and you always go, shut up. But then you kind of hear the piano come in, and for me, I think it's such a well-written song. There was some great, really nice piano choices. It wasn't overplayed or anything, and the vocals were amazing, in my opinion. I really think that song could have started there and maybe kept all of the other instruments out of it pretty much until the drums kick in, and then you'd have a really big impact as well. But I agree with everyone about the movie theme tune. Not theme tune, I think it's more of like an end credit song. But it certainly reminded me of that Ed Sheeran I See Fire that he used on The Hobbit. Was it The Hobbit or one of the Lord of the Rings? I think it was The Hobbit sequel.
Oh, the folk song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar to that, similar melody, similar sort of vibe, which I really liked.
He said that was sung by a bunch of dwarves, wasn't it, if I remember rightly?
Ed Sheeran's not a dwarf, is he?
No, not saying she's a dwarf, but
but yeah, about the vocal side of it, I know you said about the auto-tune, but I would probably disagree because there was a bit in the middle eight where it was quite, not out of tune, but quite flat. And I think if you were auto-tuning it, generally you just kind of select everything and go auto-tune, and then you go and find the bits that have done it wrong. But I think she's just a very talented singer who's had a bad take in that middle bit. But I think perhaps leaving those kind of things in it kind of does make it sound a little bit more organic and a little bit more real, and not just pitch perfect, which gets a bit boring when when you've got a song that long as well.
yeah.
But no, I actually think that was very good song, very good written.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you very much. And track number 3, as we heard it, it's called The Voyage, and it is by Nikki Joy. Nikki, we appreciate your sending that track into Music Scene Investigation as well. A reminder, the 8th of August is going to be our hit list for all of our July groups, our July music that you heard through the month of July. Let me grab them here so I can refresh everybody's memory. We'll be hearing in August the 8th, we'll be hearing from Feeling the Way with their track Behind the Scars. We'll be hearing from Olio, Get a Room, and from One High Five with Everybody Pull the Trigger, as well as The Notionaries and Excited Eyes. It's going to be a very interesting hit list, to be sure, so you want to make sure you join us for that. Now we're going to throw
Whoa. Hang on a second,
Yes,
Rich.
sir.
Is
Yes,
that
sir.
right with the date?
August the 12th. When I say the
That's
8th,
right.
when I say the 8th, I mean the 12th.
It's the time difference. He's 4 days behind.
Exactly. I'm on Mars, and never mind. Anyway, it's very difficult math-wise because I'm in a cornfield.
Just count to me as a corn, man. It's easy.
Corn's got a lot of little bitty pieces on it. It's complicated. Anyway, we're going to throw it over to our panel right now, and they're going to select our song of the week. So, gentlemen, over to you we go. Make your case and make your choice.
I don't really think there's much of a case to make this week, is there? For me, it's got to be number 3.
Yeah, Nikki Joy and The Voyage.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That was good. You remember the name, I didn't.
James, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. There's very little contest, really. Song 2, I think, would have been a lot better had they removed the sound effects and recorded it better. But, song 3 definitely stands out as this week's winner.
All right, well, there you have it. A unanimous decision. Song number 3, The Voyage by Nikki Joy, is going to be our song of the week this time around. I want to thank you, Josh, for joining us on Music Scene Investigation today. I really appreciate it. And do me a favor, eat all of Ian's food and drink all his booze.
Look, he's not from Spider, you know.
I'm halfway through doing that.
He's got to ramp it up, all I'm saying. I mean, you're going to have a studio and a pig farm. You got to live up to the reputation, my friend.
Do you know what? Pig farming is probably a better choice of industry to go into these days.
I don't think there's much different.
Better earner.
Winning shit either way.
Thanks to Ian. Thanks to Ian and James for joining us, as well as everybody in the chat room. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today on Music Scene Investigation. We'll be back again next week to do it all over again. 3 new songs by new artists, and you never know what you're going to hear. You want to make sure you tune in, find out, and who knows, we may even broadcast the pre-show. Don't know. It all depends on what Ian decides to do. I'm going to leave the decision.
Thankfully, we didn't today.
I might periscope it. Box the crap in the chat room there is saying that August the 12th is when the meteor shower is at its peak.
My birthday as well.
It's your birthday as
Yeah,
well.
my
No wonder
birthday
the
as
meteor storm's at its
Yeah,
peak. It's
yeah.
a sign of doom.
Could very well be. You never know. Anyway, we're going to play out with this week's song of the week, The Voyage, and here it is. Certainly hope you enjoy it. I got to remember which button to click here now. Anyway, here it is. Song of the week. It is The Voyage by Nikki Joy. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll talk to you next time on Music Scene Investigation.
Bye-bye.
All right.
at the edge of the sea. I hear you calling out my name. No destination to be seen. Take my hand and lead the way. Like a ship sailing to sea, I'm a vessel on the way. My love's beckoning to me to come and walk upon the waves. Before this voyage begins, fill my sails up with your winds. No compass as my guide, love's leading me to the other side. Before this voyage begins, fill my sails up with your winds. No compass as my guide, my eyes are fixed on a new horizon. Like a ship sailing to sea, I'm a vessel on the way. My love beckoning to me to come and walk upon the waves. Take me higher, take me deeper, I'll go where you go, whatever it takes. Make me stronger, make me faster, I'll travel this course even if my heart breaks. Take me farther, take me wider, I'll go where you go, whatever it takes. Make me wiser, a true fighter, I'll travel this course even if my heart breaks. A living sacrifice. To die is gain, to live is Christ. A living sacrifice. To die is gain, to live is Christ. Like a ship sailing to sea,